Okay, so today's call is going to be a little bit different than we're used to. We can sit here and talk about all the do's and the don'ts of the business, and that's good because we need to know the logistics of running the business. But that's what our trainings are for. That's what the Coach University is for, and the Rocket to Emerald. But what's going to drive you is your belief in the business. So I hope that today I can tug at your heartstrings a little bit. So to start out, I am going to start with a story. Last January, there was a 7-year-old girl named Sailor, and her family were flying from Florida to Illinois. They were in a private airline, and Sailor's father was at the controls. It was just after nightfall, and the aircraft started having mechanical problems, and it crashed in the pitch dark hills of Kentucky, upside down, and it was some pretty rough terrain, and everybody but Sailor died in the accident. Her wrist was broken in the crash. She had cuts and scrapes, and she lost her shoes. It was 38 degrees. It was cold. It was rainy. It was winter there in Kentucky. And she was only wearing shorts, a t-shirt, and one sock. She cried out for her mother and father, but nobody answered. Summoning every ounce of courage, she set off barefoot across the countryside in search of help. She waded through creeks, she crossed ditches, blackberry briars, but from the top of one small hill, she spotted a light in the distance. It was about a mile away, and so she stumbled through the darkness and the brush toward that light. And then she eventually arrived at the home of a kind man that she'd never met before, and he sprang to her care. She was safe. She would soon be taken to the hospital and helped on her way to recovery. Now, Sailor survived because she saw a light in the distance and fought her way to it. It says, notwithstanding the wild countryside, the depth of the tragedy she faced, and the injuries she had sustained, it's hard to imagine how Sailor managed to do what she did that night. But what we do know is that she recognized the light in the distance, a house, but what we do know is that she recognized in the light of the distant house a chance for rescue. There was hope. And she took courage in the fact that no matter how bad things were, her rescue could be found in that light. Now, few of us will ever endure an experience as harrowing as Sailor's, but all of us at times, at one time or another, we're going to have our own traverse. Sorry, just a second. At some time or another, have our own traverse, our own wilderness, and undertake our own rugged emotional journeys. And in those moments, however dark or seemingly hopeless they may be, if we search for it, there's always going to be a light that beckons to us. It's going to give us hope of rescue and relief. So recognize the light begins with our willingness to believe. So after the crash, Sailor had a choice. She could have chosen to stay by the airplane in the dark, alone and afraid. But there was going to be a long night ahead, and it was just going to get colder. She could choose another way. So she climbed up the hill, and there she saw a light on the horizon. Gradually, as she made her way through the night, it grew brighter. But still, there must have been times when she couldn't see it. Maybe it was out of view because of the ravine or behind trees or bushes. But the point is that she pressed on. Whenever she could see the light, Sailor had evidence that she was on the right path. She didn't know precisely what the light was, but she kept walking towards it based on what she knew. She trusted and she hoped that she would see it again if she kept moving in the right direction. And by doing so, she probably saved her life. And our lives can be like that too. There's going to be times when we've been hurt, when we're tired, when it seems too dark and cold. And there's going to be times when we can't see any light on the horizon and we feel like giving up. But if we're willing to believe, if we have the desire to believe and choose to believe, then we're going to find the pathway forward. So now what does any of this have to do with coaching? How do we apply this to our business? In every way. We have to believe in ourselves as coaches. We have to believe in our products. We have to believe in the formula for success. And we have to believe in the 3 vital behaviors. Now, Sailor couldn't know at first if what she was doing as she pushed her way through the underbrush would actually work. And I think that sometimes we feel that way as a coach. We keep pushing on and we keep doing, but are we really doing any good? She was lost, she was injured, it was dark, it was cold. But she left the crash site and she ventured out in hope of rescue, crawling and scraping her way forward until she saw a light in the distance. Once she had seen it, she did her best to move toward it, remembering what she had seen. So even if you've gotten a glimpse of what Beachbody has done for you and what it can do for others, keep moving forward. Find that belief and just keep pressing on. We have to give place for hope that will find the light of Beachbody by embracing belief rather than choosing to doubt. Our actions is what's going to prove our belief. Belief is more than just a thought. When we choose to believe, we do our workouts. We drink our Shakeology. We choose to believe when we form, when we follow up, when we invite, when we follow up again. We choose to believe when we do our personal development and really dig into it. We choose to believe when we consistently post things of value on Facebook and social media. All those are actions that show our belief, that we want to believe. And sometimes, and I think almost most of the time, our progress can seem really slow. Sometimes that we feel that we've maybe lost ground, that we've made mistakes, that in our best efforts to hit Success Club or find building coaches, it's just not working. But I tell you, please do not give up, ever. Just keep on believing in the process and in the mission of Beachbody. Align your actions with that belief. In those moments when the light of your faith is dimmed, let your hope overcome your doubt. And over time, you're going to see that you've made the best choice that you could possibly make. It's all about that compound effect and building that momentum. It's slow, it's hard, but if you believe, it is going to build up and it's going to expand to more than you can ever imagine. And my personal experience with this, I fought my why for a long time, a really long time. I didn't want to admit that we needed the money. Yes, I wanted to cover my Shakeology and I wanted to give us some wiggle room, but it's more than that. And it's a pretty sensitive subject because I know how hard my husband works. He's the breadwinner of our family and he takes pride in it. And I don't want to take that away from him because he deserves it. But moving to the oil fields was not the easy break that we expected it to be financially. We found out what it's like to be business owners, and we've had setback after setback. Even though it's been, a big oil boom, we've personally not seen the results of that. And when I finally realized that our big, hairy, audacious goal was to move back to Idaho and farm. Now that still sounds like it's so far away, but I know that it's possible. And those big aha moments aren't something that you can just plan and make happen. It's not just going to happen, it's going to happen out of the blue when you least expect it, but only if you're being consistent with the business and acting on your belief. And I went through a phase of coaching where I went through the motions, but in the back of my mind, I was looking for an out. I was looking for an escape route. I was channeling into my doubts of myself more than I was my belief of where I knew this business could take me. But Um, when I caught that vision, I believed with my whole heart. And that's when I started seeing the compound effect go into action. And I love this quote on the slide. It says, "Whatever you do, hold on to hope. The tiniest thread will twist into an unbreakable cord. Let hope anchor you in the possibility that this is not the end of your story, that change will bring you to peaceful shores." Um, so I know that through Beachbody, I can reach my dreams. I'm holding onto this tiniest cord is what it feels like right now. And I just want to encourage you guys all to go find your hope. Go find your why, because that's what is going to bring you success. And I love you ladies, and I am so grateful to be on this team. I know that this is the team that I was meant to be on, and I'm so grateful to be a part of you guys. And I'm sorry that it's short, but that is about all I have for today. So go find your why and make it happen.